Good morning, students. Today we will discuss topological sort. Topological sort is an example of decrease by one algorithm, which is a linear ordering of vertices of a graph. Say the graph name is G, such that if the graph G has an edge from the vertex U to the vertex V, then the vertex U appears before the vertex V in the linear ordering list. Okay, and topological sorting is performed for directed acyclic graphs, which is usually called as DAG, and it aims to arrange the vertices of a given DAG in a linear order. Okay, so we can say that the essential and necessary condition for topological sort is thus a DAG, that is directed acyclic graph. So before proceeding to the topological sorting, you must know what a DAG is. As you have already covered the concept of graph theory, so I think you know it, but let us go for a recapitulation of the DAG. A DAG has no path that starts and ends at the same vertex. Okay? It is called an oriented cyclic graph. Fine? So from the terminologies of graph theory, if you can point two very important terminologies, one is called source and another one is called sink, then from the definition of the source and sink says there is no incoming edge for a particular node in a graph are called a source, and a vertex or a node that has no outgoing edge is normally called a sink. A DAG has only one source and one sink, and if a graph has many sources, then there is a confusion. So in that case, one can create a super source by creating a node and connecting it to all source nodes. Fine? So whatever we have already gone through regarding topological sorting, so let us go for a brief summary of the topological sort. It is linear ordering of vertices, what I mentioned, of a graph, suppose it is G, such that if the graph G has an edge from U to V, then the vertex U appears before the vertex V in the linear ordering list. Okay, I mentioned that it is usually performed for directed acyclic graph. And what a DAG is, a DAG has no path that starts and ends at the same vertex, and it is also called oriented cyclic graph. And a DAG has only one source and one sink. If a graph has many sources, then one can create a super source by creating a node and connecting it to all source nodes. Okay, fine. Now we will go in detail of topological sorting. As the term sorting is here, you may think of, is it like comparison based sort, like bubble sort, selection sort and so forth, or what would be the mechanism of topological sorting? We are coming in this section now. Normally, topological sorting converts a partial order relation to a sorted order. So you must know what is the concept of, or what is the concept of the partial ordering, because it is necessary to understand the concept of partial ordering, as it is mentioned that topological sort converts a partial order relation to a sorted order. Okay, and as it is necessary to understand the concept of partial ordering, because a DAG has edges that have an inherent ordering, and the final order, that is the final total order, which is called the sorting, is possible only if the constraints of ordering are not violated. And topological sort is useful for solving such problems such as timetable management, course scheduling and project management. Okay, So we can say that topological sort converts a partial order relation to a sorted order, and topological sorting can be used for problem solving such as course scheduling, timetable management and project management and so forth. Okay, so again I am doing a brief review of the topological sorting. I mentioned that it is basically an example of decrease by one algorithm. This is a new term for you the learners, because decrease by one, what does it mean actually? It is a linear ordering of vertices of a graph. Suppose it is G, such that if the graph has an edge from U to V, where U and V are two vertices, then the vertex U must appear before the vertex V in the linear ordering list. Okay, and topological sort is performed for directed acyclic graphs that I also mentioned, and it aims to arrange the vertices of the given DAG in a linear order. Thus we call our DAG is an essential and necessary condition for topological sort. And what a DAG is, that I mentioned, a DAG has no path that starts and ends at the same vertex, and it is also called a oriented cyclic graph. And DAG has only one source and one sink. And what does it mean for source and sink? I mentioned in a graph, a source vertex is a vertex which normally we call that, for that source vertex there is no incoming edge, and a vertex that has no outgoing edge is usually called a sink. Okay, fine, there is no outgoing edge is called a sink, and there is no incoming edge is called the source. Fine. Okay, now it is also called a oriented cyclic graph we mentioned, and the DAG has only one source and one sink. And if a graph has many sources, then one can create a super source by creating a node and connecting it to all source nodes that I also mentioned. Okay, so let us go for the method or the mechanism applying which we can get the result of topological sort. So we must know how a topological sort is carried out. Fine. Normally we can say that the topological sorting can be performed using BFS and DFS. BFS and DFS are two known terminologies to you, graph traversals algorithm, and the details of DFS and the procedures for finding the discovery time and the finishing time, you know, it is already discussed in your graph traversals algorithm section. And you must know how DFS contributes for topological sort. Apart from DFS or even BFS, one can also use the decrease and conquer strategy. It is not divide and conquer, it is called decrease and conquer. Decrease and conquer strategy instead of BFS for performing topological sort. And how we can use decrease and conquer paradigm to solve this problem? That means the problem instance is reduced by a factor of 1 or something like. We will coming in this next section. So before going to decrease and conquer paradigm to implement topological sort, let us go for application of the DFS for topological sorting. Okay, so we will now go through the next part here. So before going through the application of DFS or even decrease and conquer algorithm for topological sorting, we must know what do we mean by the partial ordering, because unless and until you know the concept of the partial ordering, it is very difficult to go for the next section. Okay, so what is partial ordering? So normally many real world applications are associated with some jobs, or even we can call it as some task, that have an inherent ordering. And suppose S be a set. So let us go for some board work. Suppose S is a set. Okay, and what set? S is a set of tasks. Suppose S is a set of tasks. Fine. And this one be a relation among the tasks. If a relationship A relation operator B be a relation between two tasks A and B, it implies two tasks A and B, it implies that the task A must be performed before the task B. Okay, and this kind of an order is not a total order, it is called a partial order. So we call it as partial order. Okay, and this kind of order is not a total order, it is called a partial order. In other words, a partial order is a scenario where certain activities need to be computed first before performing the other activities that are dependent on it. If I am dependent on you, that implies you must appear before me. It's like that. In other words, we can say that a partial order is a scenario where certain activities need to be computed first before performing other activities that are dependent on it. Okay, so we can say that a partial order, let me write it, a partial order is a scenario where certain activities need to be computed first, before performing other activities that are dependent on it, before performing other activities that are dependent on it. Okay, and mathematically the relation, suppose the relation is R, mathematically the relation R on a set of tasks, suppose S, is called a partial order if the following condition holds good, and the first condition is called reflexivity, and the second condition is called transitivity, and the third condition is called anti-symmetry. Okay, so in other words, we can say that a partial order is a reflexive, transitive or antisymmetric relation as defined based on the elements of a set, Okay, fine. Now, how is a partial order presented using a graph? That is the question. Sir, you have told what about the partial order? That is clear, fine. Then give some example. So we can say that how is a partial order presented using a graph? For this, let us consider the project graph. So this is supposed to be a task graph, or the project graph, you can say that, where there are 4 nodes indicating 4 tasks, or we can say that activities as its vertices. Vertex 1 T1, task 1 or activity 1, vertex 2 T2 and so forth. And see that there is a direction from T1 to T2, T1 to T3, T2 to T4, T3 to T4 and so forth. Okay, so if there is a directed edge from T1 to T2, it implies that the task T1 should be executed first, because I told if there is an edge in a DAG from U to V, then the vertex U appears before the vertex V in the linear ordering list. So the same strategy is followed here. there is a directed edge from T1 to T2, it implies that the task T1 should be executed first, following which the tasks T2 and T3, okay, are executed in parallel. Task T4, you see that task T4 can be carried out after completion of tasks T2 and T3 because there is a dependency. Thus, edge represents a partial order relation among them. Fine. And this type of graph is also called, where there is a partial order relation among these edges, it is also called dependency or precedence graph. Okay, fine, dependency or precedence graph. So T2 and T3 are dependent on T1, T4 is dependent on T2 and T3. Fine. So let T1 comes, then T2 and T3 will appear. Let T2 and T3 comes, then T4 will appear. Fine. On the other hand, we can say that the topological sort thus checks whether a total order, that is the sorting of tasks, is possible in a linear order without violating any of the constraints that exist in the task given. So we can say on the other hand, topological sort thus checks whether a total order, that is sorting of tasks, is possible in a linear order without violating any of the constraints that exists in the task given. Okay, fine. So now we will go to the sections where I mentioned earlier that topological sorting can be performed using BFS and DFS algorithm. Apart from BFS and DFS, one can also use decrease and conquer. Decrease and conquer, repeatedly I am telling the term decrease and conquer instead of DFS for performing topological sort. We will go in detail of the applications of first one, that is the DFS, and we will go for describing the second one, that is topological sort using decrease and conquer. And at the beginning I am also telling that I will follow decrease and conquer strategy for implementation of the topological sort. Fine. Then let us move to the second section. Second sections, that is for implementation of the topological sort. Fine. So topological sort can be performed, I mentioned it earlier, topological sort can be performed using BFS and DFS algorithm, and topological sorting can be performed using decrease and conquer. We will go for decrease and conquer, but we must know how it is performed using DFS algorithm. So informal algorithm representation stepwise I have given here for topological sorting using DFS, and definitely I will give some example of topological sorting using decrease and conquer strategy, but for the readers you should know what is the contribution of DFS for implementation of the topological sort. Basically you have to apply DFS to compute finishing time, which is usually represented as f of u, where u is the vertex. For all vertices of the graph, you have to compute finishing time. But how you have to compute? As I am not following DFS for implementation of the topological sort, I am sorry that I am not mentioning in detail of the calculation time of calculation time, or rather we can call as a finishing time calculation for DFS, using DFS for this strategy. So my advice for all the readers to go through DFS in detail for the first point. That means you have to apply DFS to compute finish time for all the vertices of a graph. Fine. Then the second step is insert the vertices into a queue. Suppose it is capital Q based on the finishing type of the vertex. Okay. And print the contents of the queue as the total order of the task. Okay. So based on the finishing time of the vertices, you have to collect the vertex, you have to place it into the queue, and finally you have to print the queue. It is very simple algorithm, very simple. I am not going in detail of the application of DFS here because I have chosen decrease and conquer strategy instead of DFS for performing topological sort. And the example that I have planned to give you as an evidence or as an example, that I will follow the strategy decrease and conquer instead of DFS. Okay. So using decrease and conquer paradigm, the problem instance is reduced by a factor 1 by finding a source vertex that has no incoming edges and no incoming edges. You have to find out that source vertex that has no incoming edges, and the source vertex is then removed along with its edges. Source vertex is then removed along with its edges. Now I am mainly focusing the theory. Whenever I give an example of topological sorting using decrease and conquer strategy, then point by point I will come back to map with the example. Let us first go through the theory actually. So next, the vertex is inserted into the sorted list. Okay, in the earlier method it was inserted into the queue. In this method, next the vertex is inserted into the sorted list, and the process of removing one vertex at every stage is continued till the topological order, if possible, this is very vital, if possible, is obtained. Okay, so let us go for an example, and I am telling that I will come back. Again, I am telling that I will definitely come back to the steps which I have mentioned here for mapping with the example and the steps. So let us first take a example, that is, let me first take a graph for implementation of this strategy. So suppose I have a graph, first vertex C1, suppose there is an edge from C1 to C2, there is an edge from C2 to C3, suppose there is an edge from C2 to C4, there is an edge from C3 to C4, there is an edge from C4 to C5, and suppose there is an edge from C5 to C6. Okay, fine. So in this graph, the vertex or the node that has no incoming edge is nothing but C1. This is the only vertex, it has no incoming edge, and you just go through first point. Using this paradigm, the problem instance is reduced by a factor 1 by finding a source vertex that has no incoming edges, and the source vertex is then removed along with its edges. So we have got one vertex C1 from the graph that has no incoming edges. Fine. So therefore vertex C1 can be removed along with its edges. Fine. So after removal, what is the resultant? So the entire part from C1 along with its edges is removed. So that part needs to be removed. So we have to start drawing the graph from C2, because C1 is not the part after the removal along with its edge. So C2 is here, C2 to C3, yeah, C2 to C4, C3 to C4, fine, C4 to C5, fine, C5 to C6, fine. Then it was told next the vertex is inserted into the sorted list. Very good. And the process of removing one vertex at every stage is continued till the topological sorter, topological order, if possible, is obtained. So after the removal of C1 along with its edges, we can say that C1 is inserted into the sorted list. Then after removal of C1, you have to go for the process of removing one vertex again at the current stage. At the current stage means the resultant after removal of C1, you are going to deal with this graph. Okay, until the topological order, if possible, is obtained. So the next node, which is C2, needs to be removed, because the deletion of because C2 has no incoming edges. You see that C2 has no incoming edges. This is the arrow. This is not the edge for C2. C2 has no incoming edge. So the next node to be removed is C2, and the deletion of the node results in the graph as not only removing C2, C2 along with its edges, C2 along with its edges. That means entire part, this will be removed. So the resultant graph is now C3, okay, C4, okay, C5, okay, and C6. Fine. Okay. And the next node again is to be removed is C3, and the resultant graph is C4, C5, C6. Why we have chosen C3? Because C3 has no incoming edges. Okay, like C1, after removal we have found C2 which has no incoming edges, so we remove C2 along with its all edges, that means all of its outgoing edges. Then we get this resultant. Then among C3, C4, C5 and C6, C6 has an incoming edge, C5 has an incoming edge, C4 has an incoming edge, so only C3 is found which has no incoming edges, so we can remove C3, okay, along with its edge. That means this part is removed. So now from the resultant it is clear that you will now remove C4. So after removal of C4 you will have C5 and C6 only, then you will definitely remove C5, then at last you have C6. Okay, so we can say that similarly vertex C5, C6 can be removed. Okay, and what is the ordering of the result? That means this results in an ordering of the vertices as C1 first, then C2, then C3, then C4, then C5 and at last C6. So this is the ordering. Okay, fine. Then your question comes to your mind definitely, sir, how can we determine that the node that is to be deleted? Here you told that you have to identify the vertex from the graph in such a manner so that the vertex do not have any incoming edges. Okay, and that will be the candidate for deletion or the removal. And not only the vertex is removed, but also the vertex along with its all outgoing edges is also to be removed. Then you have to repeat the procedure for the remaining vertices present in the graph. So definitely the question arises, how can we determine the node that is to be deleted? And this is done by using the concept of adjacency matrix of the graph. I told at my first lecture of the graph theory that the graph is represented using adjacency matrix. So you know how the graph is represented using adjacency matrix. Okay, if there is an adjacency relation, we put the value which is non-zero. If there is no adjacency, we put a 0. Okay, and from the matrix, whenever we treat a particular row, that implies the row number is a particular vertex from where we are going to check its adjacent, and the column number indicates the vertices for which we are checking the adjacency. Okay, so in a adjacency matrix, row number 1, column number 1 indicates we are checking whether there is an adjacent from vertex 1 to vertex 1. 1, 2, row 1, column 2 indicates we are checking whether there is an adjacency between vertex 1 and vertex 2 and whether it is adjacent or not. So let us form the adjacency matrix of the given graph, and following some rule we can easily identify, or you can easily determine the candidate node to be deleted. Okay, so for this now follow the next session. Now this part is for board work, I have kept it for board work. So let us take the graph again. Now our main objective is to determine the node that is to be deleted. I think all of you have understood how the topological sorting is carried out using the method which is mentioned as decrease and conquer strategy. Okay, but as I raised the question that how we can determine the node that is to be deleted, this part will help you to know it. Okay, fine. Let me take the graph again. C1 is the first vertex, C2, yes, fine, then C3, yeah, there is C4, there is an edge from C3 to C4 also, then it is C5, and finally it is C6. Okay, so now before formation of the adjacency matrix of the graph, I tell you that there is a procedure associated for performing topological sort using adjacency matrix, and the process I will definitely tell. So let me first represent the adjacency matrix for this graph, then I am coming the next part of it. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, total 6 vertices. So 6 vertices, so the matrix length will be 6 cross 6. C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, 6 row, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, 6 columns. From the graph, there is no self loop for C1. So C1, C1, 0. C1, C2, yes, there is an edge from C1 to C2, so it is 1. C1 to rest, there is no connectivity, that means direct connectivity. So C1, C3, 0, C1, C4, 0, C1, C5, 0, C1, C6, 0. Similarly, C2, C1, definitely 0, because there is no back edge from C2 to C1. C2, C3, yes, connectivity, that means C2 to C3 there is an edge, C2 to C4 there is an edge, so only C2, C3 and C2, C4 is 1 and remaining entries are 0. C2, C2 is 0, no self loop. C2 to C5 there is no edge, 0. C2 to C6 there is no edge, so 0. So in this way you can easily form the adjacency matrix. So let me pick up C3, C3, C1, no, C3, C2, no, C3, C3, no, C3, C4, yes, C3, C5, no, C3, C6, 0. Okay, C4 to previous, C1, C2, C3, all are 0. C4, C4 is also 0, no self loop. C4, C5 is 1, C4, C6 is 0. Okay, similarly for C5, all previous entries are 0, because C5 is dependent on only C4. C4 is dependent on C3, C4 is dependent on C2, okay, C2 is dependent on C1, C3 is dependent on C2. So C5 there is not at all adjacent with C1, C2, C3 and C4. C6 is dependent on C5, keep it in mind. So C5 to C1, C2, C3 and C4 all are 0. C2, C5, C1, 0, C5, C3, 0, C5, C4, 0. Even C5, C5 is also 0 because there is no self loop. C5 to C6 there is an edge. That's why it is 1. For C6, I am sorry to say all are 0. Okay, fine. So adjacency matrix formation is done. So now let me go through the procedure at least once, then we will follow the procedure and you can easily find out it. So for implementation of this concept, so let me take a variable. Suppose let me take a variable. So this is a matrix, no issue. So let me take a variable m. Suppose m is a variable and let me initialize it as 1. So what is the role of role of m? I am coming later on. Let me take a variable and initialize at 1 as 1. Okay. Then as you have the adjacency matrix, of the given graph, identify from the adjacency matrix, identify the adjacency matrix that has a column of 0 elements. Identify the adjacency matrix that has a column of 0 elements. And if a column of zeros is present, it means that the node has no predecessors. The node has no predecessors. Identify a column from the adjacency matrix of 0 elements. If a column of zeros is present, it means that the node has no predecessors. Fine. After that, if a column is found, then assign m to the node and increment m. Okay, then assign m to the node and increment m. Okay, after that, delete the found column along with its row. Okay, and you have to repeat the steps from the adjacency matrix where the column of 0 elements is found until all the nodes are assigned a suitable code. Okay, so what I told here, I will again come to the steps also, no issue. So first of all, let me implement this concept. Okay, so I told let us assume m equals to 1. So let me find out the role of m here. So it is observed that the first column are all 0. First column are all 0. Therefore, the vertex C1 is assigned a number 1. Okay, because I told if a column is found, then assign m. Assign m. What is the value of m? That is 1. Assigned m to the node and increment m. Assigned m to the node. What is the value of m initially? 1. So assigned 1 to C1 and increment m by 1. So from the adjacency matrix, we have identified a column which is column C1, that is the first column here, C1, have all 0 entries. Therefore, C1 is assigned the value of 1, that is assigned m to C1. Then we have to delete the first column and the first row also. Delete the column and the row. Delete the column for C1 and delete the row for C1. So you have to delete first row and first column. Okay, fine. And increment the value of m by 1. So m is now 2. So after removal first row and first column, you have the remaining matrices, remaining entries in the matrices. So you have this portion only. Okay, so you have C2, C3, C4, C5 and C6. C2, C3, C4, C5 and C6. Okay, again I am telling you, the column in the adjacency matrix where all entries are 0, that indicates the particular vertex which is C1, which I am talking about, the column number is basically a particular vertex C1, have no predecessors. That means it has no incoming edges, no predecessors, no incoming edges. Okay, is that clear? So now the remaining graph C2. So let me write the entries 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. I am copying it just 0, 0, 1, 0. Then 4 naught followed by 1. Then all zeros. Fine. Then again identify a column. Fantastic. We have identified another column C2. All entries are 0. Okay. So as all entries are 0, so you have to delete column C2 as well as row C2 and assign the number, that is increased number of m, to C2. So C2 takes the value of m which is 2. After that m is m plus 1, that is 3. So this part is completely removed. So you have to take the remaining. So now I think you can easily guess what is going to happen next. So you are reducing the dimensions of the adjacency matrix after each steps. So decrease by 1. Okay, fine. So here after removal you have the matrix C3, C4, C5 and C6. Okay, C3, C4, C5 and C6. If you can recall, so after C1 removed along with its edge, this was the part of the graph. And from the graph it is also clear that C2 has no incoming edges. That implies C2 has no predecessors. And from the adjacency matrix it is also clear all column entries of C2 is 0. Okay, so in this way you can determine the candidate vertex for deletion. Okay, so now I have to write the remaining 0 1 0 0 0 1 0 0, then 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 0 triple 0 1 and last all are 0. So identify the column. Yes, only the column C3 have all 0 entries. So row 3 and column 3 will be deleted, and C3, sorry, it is step number 4. C3 will be assigned to the updated value of m, that is 3, and m will be updated as m plus 1, that is 4, and you have the remaining matrices, remaining part of the matrix. So I think the rest of the steps are very easily guessed. So next you will delete C4. So C4 will be assigned to the current value of m, which is 4, and m will be incremented as m plus 1. Then after removal of C4 full, then you have this part only. So C5 has the column where is all 0. So next C5 will be deleted, C5 row and C5 column. So this one will be deleted. Okay, fine. So then C5 is 5 and m is m plus 1, which is 6. And after deletion of C5, okay, last one is C6. So C6 will be deleted at last. Okay, fine. And deleting the column with its row finally yields the node C6, and the resulting linear ordering of the vertices, if you can arrange, first one C1 with index 1, then C2 with index 2, C3, C4, C5 and finally C6. So we can say that the number of vertices assigned by the topological sort is given as a subscript C1, then C2, then C3, then C4, then C5 and then C6. Okay, fine. So we can say that it can be observed that the method or the algorithm picks a vertex that has no incoming edges and removes it with all its outgoing edges that I also told, and the algorithm continues this process till the final linear list of vertices is obtained. Fine. So let me give you the algorithm steps of that I mentioned for topological sort using decrease and conquer strategy. Okay, and the procedure for performing topological sorting using an adjacency matrix, all of those. So let me give a brief summary of it. So initialize a step for topological sort using decrease and conquer strategy. Initialize a queue by traversing the graph and identify the next vertex u with no incoming edges that I told. If there are many such vertices, then any node or vertex can be taken for further consideration, and if there is none, then stop, as topological sort cannot be performed. Okay, so not all cases you will get that successful result. So the second step is pick the vertex u. Delete the vertex u that has no incoming edges along with all the edges that I told here. C1 has no incoming edges, so remove C1 along with its edges. That means along with its outgoing edges. So entire part is removed from here. Okay. So repeat steps 1, 2, 3. That means this part. Till all the vertices of the given graph are processed. Okay. So that I mentioned here also. First C1 is the candidate, remove it. Then identify the graph, that is the remaining graph, where C2 is only the candidate where there is no incoming edge. So C2 along with its outgoing edges are removed. Then from the remaining section you will get from the remaining section, C2 is given. From the remaining section you will find C3 is only one, it has no incoming edges, so C3 along with its edge will be removed. Then from the remaining C4 is the only candidate, removed along with its outgoing edge. Then C5 and finally C6. Okay. So there was a question, sir, how do you determine the node that is to be deleted? That's why I took the help of the representation of the graph using adjacency matrix. Okay. So there I told, let us have the faith on me that initialize a variable m, and I will give you the significance of m later on. So from the previous example, I think you have already known what is the significance of the m. So here just summarizing it. Initialize the variable, say m equals to 1. That will be used, or we can say that was used for assigned the ordering of the vertex actually. That means m equals to 1. Find the adjacency matrix that has a column of 0 element. From the example again you can come. You can form the adjacency matrix, identify the column, have all zeros. Okay. And if a column of 0 is present, it means that the node has no predecessor. I told it. No predecessors, no incoming edges. Okay. If a column is found, then assign m to the node and increment m. That means give the current value of m to that vertex. Initially it was 1. 1 means the order 1. First 1. Okay. So assign 1 or the initial value of m to the vertex. Okay. And delete the found column along with its row. That's why I deleted row number C1 and column number C1. I first verify all zeros using the column. Then whenever I have identified the column having all 0, then not only that column but also that row needs to be deleted. Okay. And assign the value of m as an order of the vertex. Okay. And increment m by 1 that I told. Repeat step 2 to 4 till all nodes are assigned to a suitable code. That means code 1, code 2, code 3, code 4, order 1, order 2 in that one. Okay. Fine. So that is all about the topological sort. And regarding analysis, that is analysis of topological sorting. So if you go through the analysis section, it is not very difficult, it is very simple. So let there are m number of vertices in the graph and n number of edges of the graph. Okay. Then topological algorithm takes order of m time for picking the vertex, because you have to cover all the vertices. If there is a topological ordering you are expecting to get, that is order of m time for picking the vertex that has no incoming edges, and this is done by corresponding adjacency matrix or list. That is the last procedure we followed. And picking the vertex after identification takes a constant time. It is very simple. And deleting the vertex along with its edges takes order of n time, because I told there are n number of edges in the graph. So altogether the algorithm takes order of m plus n time. Total m number of vertices, n number of edges. Topological algorithm takes order of m time for picking the vertex that has no incoming edges, and this is done by corresponding adjacency matrix or list that I have followed here. So picking the vertex after identification Identification means the identification by following the identification criteria, that means no non-zero entry actually, takes a constant time, and deleting the vertex along with its edges takes order of n time. So altogether the algorithm takes order of n plus n time. Okay, so my advice is to take a very simple case study where you can apply topological sort. You will find definitely the ordering very simple manner. Okay, so as I told it, the graph that is normally representing a dependency graph like. So from the graph you can easily guess it because the method is not at all difficult. So considering some case study, you can easily apply topological sort. Fine. So this is about topological sorting. Thank you.